The Medal of Honor is the United States military's highest medal for valor. Since its creation, more than 3,500 service members have earned the medal, spanning all the way back to the Civil War. But have you ever wondered why the Medal of Honor has different designs for each branch of the military? Well, almost a year into the Civil War, Iowa Senator James Grimes wanted to do something to, quote, promote the efficiency of the Navy. So on December 9, 1861, he introduced legislation to create what he called Medals of Honor to enlisted sailors and Marines who demonstrated gallantry in action. Believing that soldiers deserved similar recognition, Massachusetts Senator Henry Wilson introduced a bill almost a month later for the creation of the Medal of Honor for the Army. At their inception, only enlisted soldiers, sailors, and Marines were eligible for their service's Medal of Honor. In 1863, nearly a year after the Army Medal was created, the law was changed to allow Army officers to become eligible. And believe it or not, it took until 1915 for the law to change in order to give naval officers the same eligibility. And let's not forget about the Air Force. 9 years after the Army Air Corps split from the Army in order to create its own department, it obtained congressional authorization for its own medal design. Stay tuned as we continue this countdown of 9 extraordinary facts about the Medal of Honor that you may not have known. Number 8. The first Medal of Honor recipient stole a train. What do a ragtag band of Union raiders, a couple locomotives, and the city of Chattanooga have in common? If you said this was the plot to the 1965 film The Great Locomotive Chase starring Fess Parker, you'd be right. But believe it or not, that movie was based off real events of the Civil War and the actions of the nation's first Medal of Honor recipients. In the real Great Locomotive Chase, a group of 24 Union volunteers comprising of both military and civilian personnel, including a man named Jacob Parrott, embarked on a mission to disrupt a Confederate supply line between Atlanta and Chattanooga. The raid began on April 12, 1862, when this team, which was dubbed Andrew's Raiders, commandeered the locomotive known as the General, when it made a scheduled stop to let its passengers get breakfast. With their newly acquired transportation, the raiders moved northward, cutting telegraph wires and creating as much damage to the rails and bridges along the way as possible. The General's conductor, William Fuller, and 2 other men chased after the stolen locomotive on foot before turning to a handcar. Along the line, they came across another locomotive that was being stored on a siding and commandeered it for themselves. This allowed Fuller and his men to close the gap between them and the General, leading to the eventual capture of many of the raiders. Although the raiders didn't make it to Chattanooga, they were able to cause enough significant damage to the Confederate supply line, earning Parrott and 19 of his fellow raiders the Medal of Honor. 19 people are dual recipients. Although the requirements to earn a Medal of Honor have changed over the years, I'll get to that in a few minutes, one thing has never changed. To be a recipient, you need to demonstrate incredible amounts of courage and gallantry in extremely difficult situations. To earn one Medal of Honor is an incredible testament to the recipient's ability to overcome adversity and face the seemingly impossible. But out of the more than 3,500 recipients, 19 have actually earned multiple Medals of Honor. To find yourself in such a harrowing situation not once, but twice is truly remarkable. There's only one Coast Guard recipient. When you think about war, the Coast Guard is probably not the first department that comes to mind. At-sea rescues, illegal drug seizures, and coastal border protection? Sure. But war? Although the Coast Guard is a relatively small organization compared to the other departments, Coast Guardsmen have played a role in every conflict the nation has engaged in since its creation in 1790. One of these roles was fulfilled by Signalman First Class Douglas Monroe, who led a small party of Higgins boats toward Point Cruz, Guadalcanal on September 27, 1942. His mission? Help evacuate 500 Marines under heavy enemy fire. Once they made landfall, he positioned his boat, which was equipped with 2 small guns, between the enemy and the soon-to-be Marine-filled boats in order to shield them from enemy fire. Monroe was tragically killed in the rescue attempt, but thanks to his leadership and expert planning, his men were able to successfully evacuate the Marines. The evolution of the medal's requirements. In today's military, it literally takes an act of Congress to get someone approved for the Medal of Honor. As the nation's highest symbol of valor, having a strict form of vetting that allows the medal to maintain its credibility makes sense, but this wasn't always the case. The standards for awarding the Medal of Honor have been updated twice since its creation. The most recent was in 1963. These new guidelines state that a medal can only be awarded to individuals who are, quote, engaged in an action against an enemy of the United States, while engaged in military operations involving a conflict with an opposing foreign force, or while serving with friendly forces in an armed conflict against an opposing armed force in which the United States is not a belligerent party. What this meant was, service members could only earn the Medal of Honor if their actions took place during combat with a known malicious force. That might seem like common sense now, but historically there have been more than 200 Medals of Honor issued to service members outside of combat. Most of these medals were presented to sailors who helped rescue people from sinking ships, prevented their own ship from sinking, or saved people who had fallen overboard. Moving backwards, the earliest update to the requirements came in 1897, which added 3 requirements. First, submitting a request for the Medal of Honor now required eyewitness statements. Second, someone other than the proposed recipient of the medal has to make the recommendation. And third, the recommendation had to be submitted no later than 1 year after the events in which the request was being made. If those all seem like things that should have been in place from day one, I agree with you. But this does help explain the next fact. 911 soldiers had their medals rescinded. Imagine being told you're going to receive the nation's highest military honor, only to be told years later that you didn't actually deserve it. For 911 people, that's exactly what happened. Between 1916 and 1917, the Army put together a board to review every single Army Medal of Honor awarded. When the board issued its findings, 911 soldiers and civilians were cut from the Medal of Honor roll, citing that their medals were issued in error. The majority of these rescinded medals came from the soldiers of the 27th Maine Volunteer Infantry. Long story short, in the closing days of the Civil War, General Robert E. Lee's army was marching its way north into Pennsylvania. The Union Army sent almost every able-bodied man it had to repel the invasion, leaving Washington, D.C. basically defenseless. All that remained in the city was 2 infantry regiments, the Maine 25th and the 27th Volunteers, both of which had their enlistments expiring. President Lincoln asked both regiments to remain in the capital until Lee's army was repelled. But when the 25th refused and returned to Maine, Lincoln became desperate and authorized the Secretary of War to offer the Medal of Honor to any member of the 27th who remained. Of the 864 soldiers and officers, 311 stuck behind. 4 days later, Lee was defeated at Gettysburg, and those 311 men were authorized the Medal of Honor. But thanks to a clerical error, a medal was sent to Maine's governor for each of the 864 men. This story gets even more wild, but I can't get into it in this video, so I suggest you do a little bit more research on your own. Several of the other medals that were rescinded were because the actions taken simply weren't worthy of such recognition. However, there were 6 medals that the board genuinely didn't want to take away because the actions that earned the medal were heroic. Unfortunately, each recipient shared one disqualifying attribute: they were civilians. One of these civilians was also the first and only woman to receive the Medal of Honor. Dr. Mary Walker receives the Medal of Honor. Mary Walker was a woman known for breaking barriers. She earned her medical degree from Syracuse Medical College in 1855 before getting married and starting a medical practice. At the outbreak of the Civil War, she volunteered with the Union Army, working as a surgeon in a hospital in Washington, D.C. She was captured by Confederate forces and arrested for being a spy after she crossed enemy lines to provide aid to wounded civilians. Despite not technically being eligible because she was a civilian, Dr. Walker was awarded the Medal of Honor on November 11, 1865, for her work as a surgeon thanks to an endorsement from President Lincoln. Her medal was rescinded following the 1916-1917 review because of her status as a civilian, but was later restored in 1977. William Johnston is the youngest recipient. Think back to your childhood. What were you doing when you were 11? If you were William Johnston, a musician for the Union Army, you were earning a Medal of Honor for your involvement in the Civil War. Musicians were an important part of the Civil War era military. Drummers and buglers were used to issue marching orders and provide a boost to morale when not in combat. During the Seven-Day Battle, Johnston's 3rd Vermont Infantry found itself in a heated battle that killed or injured about 1/6 of those Union soldiers. Needing to fall back to reorganize, many soldiers left their equipment so they'd have less weight to carry. But not little Willie. He held on to his drum and, in subsequent battles, had the honor of drumming the soldiers into battle, as he was the only musician from the unit who maintained his gear. Word of Willie's story made it to President Lincoln, who wrote to then Secretary of War Edwin Stanton urging that the boy receive a medal. 80 Medals of Honor have Connecticut ties. In our number 1 spot, we're bringing it back home. Of the more than 3,500 recipients, 80 were presented to service members who are either from Connecticut or who enlisted into the military in Connecticut. 2 of those recipients, First Lieutenants Robert Nett and Lee Hartel, actually served in the Connecticut National Guard at some point during their careers. In 2018, we rededicated our 2 camps in Windsor Locks and Niantic after Hartel and Nett, respectively. If you want to learn more about the Medal of Honor recipients or want to learn more about the medal itself, I suggest you head over to the Congressional Medal of Honor Society website. And as always, I hope you enjoyed this countdown of 9 extraordinary facts about the Medal of Honor. Do you have a cool Medal of Honor story? Let us know about it in the comments.